Okay, guys, I've started looking at some of the submitted work, and maybe I was a little unclear about what the expectations are for this assignment. So I'm going to show you what the in-person kids are doing so that this gives you an idea of what I'm expecting from you virtually. So in-person students are getting a sheet that looks like this. And so they're going to create a graph using the information from the table. They collected the information from their table, but obviously this lab is not one that's really easy for you to complete at home. So instead of you collecting the information, I just gave you information that was collected from class in a table. You need to turn that table into a graph, right? So the table that I gave you for station station 3, the one with the beads in the water, right? So each of those numbers are going to go along your y-axis, right? And on your y-axis, you're going to have the title, number of beads, right? Because it's the number of beads collected in 30 seconds. On your x-axis is going to be the type of tool that was used, right? So you're going to just create a bar graph to show that information. You need to make sure that when your bar graph is uploaded that I can read it. You can do it in Google Sheets or Google Slides or Google Docs so that you don't have to do paper and pencil version. And then you can just take a screenshot or upload that file to the assignment question. The other option is that you can do a paper and pencil one, but it must be legible, guys. And a lot of the stuff that you're submitting is not legible. Legible means I can read every single word and I can see every single detail of it. So you can choose which way you want to graph it. I thought I was clear, but maybe I was not. So from start to finish, you're going to watch the station videos. You're going to predict at each station which tool is going to be the best at each station. Then you're going to graph the information that I gave you in those two tables for the two stations. One is the number of beads collected in 30 seconds, representing fish in a pond. And the second graph is going to be representing nectar feeding birds like hummingbirds in milliliters of water collected. So I'm expecting two graphs, one for each of those uploads. And then for your conclusion, there's a minimum of 4 sentences. And each of those conclusion questions is worth 18 points. So you need to make sure that you're including 4 sentences of information and that the required words are in each of those sentences. This is a lab grade, meaning it's 40% of your grade for your science average. So you need to make sure that you're doing your very best work. If you were here in the classroom, then I would be walking around making sure you were doing it, but you're going to have to take that responsibility on for yourself. If you need me or need questions answered, we are going to have a Google Meet tomorrow at 1 o'clock. So I will be on there to help you guys figure it out so that we can all make a good grade and understand the concept that those adaptations for those birds, each of those different tools represents a different shaped beak. And looking at the numbers in those tables, you can see that certain beaks are better suited for certain food types. And so this shows that idea of natural selection, because those animals that had beak styles like a spoon at the nectar station who weren't able to get any nectar, are they going to be able to survive very long? Not if that's the only food source. So that's the idea that I'm trying to get you guys to understand it, that these beaks, these tools at each of the stations represented different style beaks adapted for certain types of diets. And when those birds who have those beak styles don't have access to foods that are going to be able to be eaten by that particular beak style, then it's going to cause that animal not to be as healthy or maybe even die. And if that's for a whole species, that could cause extinction, right? Remember to use those words like mutation. Remember, a mutation is a change to the genetic makeup of an organism, the DNA. And so if the DNA is changed, that's going to change everything about the organism because those small changes over a period of time compound and they become more and more prevalent. That's how we have these large changes over long periods of time. Think about variation. Those are like differences between different species, right? So small variations. Think about variation within our student population, right? We've got people who are tall. We've got people who are short. We've got people with brown hair. We've got people with blonde hair. We've got people with blue eyes. We've got people with brown eyes, right? All of those are variations, but we're all the same species, right? So variations are those small differences, small adaptations that certain organisms of a particular species might have compared to each other. Okay, so if you have questions, feel free to send me an email or a private comment. I hope that this helps you guys understand a little bit more about what I'm looking for today's lab. I'm sorry that you didn't get to participate in the lab. That was the fun part of this one. You guys get to do the graphing and the analysis and the conclusion part of it. So I hope that this video kind of answered some of the questions that you have. Please make sure that you're submitting and following all of the directions, because following the directions is a big part of our standards in science. Being able to follow procedures is very important, and it will affect your lab grade if you do not. So I hope you guys do your very best. I am going to extend the due date to be Monday so that you guys can have a little bit more time to work on it if you need to. So you guys can not, be worried or freak out that it's going to be late. So I'm going to extend that due date. It's due on Monday. So if you need to take some time this weekend to work on it or get some help, we can do that. So I hope you guys have a fantastic Wednesday, and I will see you tomorrow face-to-face at 1 p.m.